the Matt Wells edition. As an off-the-field analyst, Matt Wells, of course, most recently the head coach at Texas Tech, got fired after a 5-3 start. And then he had done a nice job at Utah State to get the move to the Big 12 at Texas Tech. And actually, as a side note, was the first coach we ever had here on as the voice of college football when he was at Utah State. But Matt Wells is now at OU.
Yeah, it was a little bit under the radar, Mark. That kind of was announced yesterday, kind of along with some of the other stuff around the spring practice getting started. So yeah, I think that's a great addition to Oklahoma's off the field staff. Obviously, he's an analyst in an off the field role for Oklahoma, and I think that's part of what Oklahoma has done a much better job of, and part of what one of the, and I don't want to necessarily call it an ultimatum, but was something that Brent Venables talked to Joe Castiglione and President Joe Harris about before taking the jobs. Like, these are some of the things that we need to do to be successful, at the level of Alabama, at the level of Clemson, which kind of talks about the off-field stuff, and then kind of the recruiting team that they have. So yeah, I think he'll be a valuable asset to this team. If nothing else, to your point, considering the success that he had at Utah State, and then the oddness, I guess, of him getting let go at 5-3 this year at Texas Tech. So, and I think there's a comment here. I know that there's a lot of people that are very skeptical of any kind of Texas Tech linkage coming back to Oklahoma. But I think this one's pretty good, just in terms of there's no real correlation to anybody from kind of from the Lincoln Riley tree there, or any of the coaches that have been here previously. So I think it'll be valuable, having as good of a staff that Oklahoma has on the field, just bolstering that with what all they have off the field as well. That it's critical to the success of these programs.
When you look at Matt Wells' tenure at Texas Tech, the reason I kind of emphasized the 5-3 record when he got fired was I was a bit surprised just on the surface by that decision mid-season. So he had gone 4-8 in a complete season and 4-6 in the COVID season. Then he gets off to a 5-2 start. He's 5-2 at Texas Tech. They lose by 1 point to a pretty respectable Kansas State team, and he gets fired. So I thought on the surface, wow, that's kind of interesting, because Texas Tech doesn't appear to have that high of standards that they're firing a coach that was just 5-2 a couple of days ago and lost by 1 point to a pretty good football team. We had a Texas Tech person on here from 247 Sports that put it better into context of some other things surrounding the program and the look of the team and continued mistakes and sloppy play and lack of improvement that made a lot more sense. But Matt Wells is on board at OU.